Alright, so I just found out something kind of weird that I never realized. Formerly Mandolin Orange, currently Watch House, released Paper Mountain / Belly of the Beast. And I think I listened to Belly of the Beast the first time, and then they Watch House released their first album with Belly on the Beast on it. I really like it on the album and didn't realize that I had already technically listened to it as I cut off this person. It's a really niche thing that I don't think anyone knows what I'm talking about, but even when I talk NBA, I don't know if half the people know what I'm talking about. And half is usually one of two total people, so that's where we're at now. And so it doesn't matter. That's the freedom of this, I was going to call it show. It's not really a show. Video series. This channel. Is we can say whatever we want. That Firetruck has its lights on, but they're not going very fast. What does that mean for me? I probably should not have just gone in front of that Firetruck. That's okay, I'll get in the middle lane. It can do whatever it wants. But I don't understand. If it's not an emergency, if its lights are on, which indicates it is an emergency, but it's not going very fast, so they're just kind of chilling at the same time. Alright, whatever. Maybe that's a metaphor for the Washington Wizards. Segue. Back of my head's really itchy nowadays. Because Washington Wizards are kind of a slow emergency where it's just is Bradley Beal going to leave? But slowly, day by day. Actually, just this morning afternoon, a couple things came out regarding Bradley Beal. The first thing is that Russell Westbrook encouraged him to leave the Wizards, but he obviously is not. Secondly, the Lakers were targeting Beal. Dame ended up going with Westbrook. Not going with, but really just settling for Westbrook. And thirdly, Bradley Beal is not vaccinated, which could pose some problems down the line, as it could for Andrew Wiggins and Kyrie Irving, along with the other 10% of the league that is unvaccinated. Regardless of your stance on it, the NBA's, certain cities have mandated it, so that could be trouble for certain players playing on away games, and in the case of Wiggins and Kyrie, home games, which is a much bigger problem than certain away games because home games are half the season. So something to think about going forward, as I don't get T-boned by this truck. Jesus Christ. Tough day on the roads. I'm leaving a little later than usual. I think people are a little more crazier out here. Jesus. So I actually had a lot to talk about the Wizards, but I'm really mad that I'm talking about fire trucks and weird folk bands for the majority of this so far. So this offseason, Wizards, they deal Westbrook, they get Harrell, they get Kuzma, they get Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, 3, solid pieces. And I think, for this team, it's really time to build for at least the regular season to make the playoffs. I think that's the goal. You could shoot for the 6th seed, try and get out of the play-in. But really what they've done is added a lot of depth. I mean, you think about last year with Thomas Bryant out, especially in the front court, they were really thin. And now if Thomas Bryant comes back, Harrell's going to add some depth, and then KCP, Kuzma on the wings to kind of bolster Beal. And then the addition of Spencer Dinwiddie, I think, will be huge if he stays healthy. Having a solid point guard, obviously a little more of a facilitator than Russell Westbrook. I think him and Beal will work really nicely together. And he's someone I keep an eye on for comeback player of the year, most improved. I don't know if you can say most improved, but definitely I think someone to keep an eye out for. Rui Hachimura, I think, has improved pretty steadily. If he can keep that going, he's out of camp for some personal reasons at the moment. You got Davis Bertans, whatever you want to say. I mean, he signed a long-term deal, and they're going to be paying him, 16 to 18, something like that, for the next 4 years, I believe. Don't love the contract. He definitely did not shoot up to expectations for that kind of money. Doesn't offer you a ton on the defensive end, anything, inside the three-point line on the offensive end. So, that's going to be tough. I think, hopefully he shoots better. And maybe with Dinwiddie and kind of Kuzma, maybe can create a little bit more for others. You can see maybe, his looks could be better. So we'll see about that. But I do think Thomas Bryant coming back will be big. They drafted Corey Kispert, another guy that on the wing. I think, hustle guy, effort guy, typical white guy comments you'd say. Not as athletic, could shoot the three, high IQ, shit like that. It's whatever. He fits that pretty much to a T. And with the COVID era, depth is really important because, there could be nights you play with 8 guys on your roster because 3 starters are out, and you still want to be competitive and hopefully, win games if that comes to it. And if Beal's out for certain away games, you're going to have to somehow come up with a way to make up for the points and offensive, firepower that, he contributes. And listen, my whole thing with Bradley Beal is, if he left, say, or demanded a trade to whatever, teams that have been interested in him, Miami, I think, has been mentioned, Lakers, I don't know if he, want to go to Portland with Dame or something like that. Go to Boston, I guess, is one of the bigger ones. And if that happened, everyone would accuse him of creating a super team and all the KD criticism. I mean, not to the same level as KD. Obviously, he's not the same caliber player, and it's not the exact situation, but. No one likes super teams because they basically ruin the parity of the league. Then it basically says, all right, well, 3 to 4 teams have a legitimate shot and everyone else is just, wasting time. Because if Beal is a legitimate part of any big 3, so there's that. But it seems like he's getting criticized just as much for staying in Washington. Be like, dude, you're wasting your career in Washington. And it's like, well, yeah, I guess you just lose either way because you're either wasting your career in on a team that drafted you, or you go, join a super team and I guess are a coward or something. So I honestly commend him for really sticking with Washington. I don't know if it depends. Different players want different things, and I don't know. How if it was just winning was important to him, then he would be out of there because his chances of winning a title there are pretty much none at the moment, and probably for the foreseeable future. But if he values winning in Washington, if he values probably can get his best payday there, if he values his family and kids growing up there, then that's fine, and that's his prerogative, that's his decision. So I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Because I think with to just up and move, honestly, it seems just like a nightmare for some of these guys that just float around the league for so long. It's like, dude, do you have a deal with U-Haul or do you even just buy new stuff all the time? I have no idea. That's my mom walking. Just crazy stuff happening on the roads today, people. This is one of the wildest afternoon commutes of all time. Of the 20 that I've done. And the thing is, too, if he stays in Washington, I would think the front office would have probably sat down with him, so we're going to be aggressive. The Westbrook thing starting out, but now you look at some of these pieces they have, I wouldn't be surprised, and I would encourage them to, field offers for maybe Harrell, KCP. I mean, they stacked up to equal Westbrook's contract, so you could probably get a similar number there. I don't know how much Washington's been named for a Ben Simmons thing. I don't hate it, because I think Ben Simmons with Beal. Obviously, Beal can take, spreads the floor. They got Bertans to spread the floor. Kispert can spread the floor, depending on what the deal looks like. I mean, Harrell, KCP, those are guys that can contribute to a Philly team right away, and you spread out, what Ben Simmons can do among them, and I think, not the worst thing, honestly. Wizards that maybe they throw a pick in there, and you're looking at Ben Simmons, Beal, Rui, Bertans, and Thomas Bryant, and it's not a bad starting five, and I think it could make some sense. I'm not gonna lie. I think I just cracked the case. Washington, if you're listening, trade for Ben Simmons. Yeah, actually, I really don't hate that, and this sounds like dumb, but at this point, like, the Wizards don't really, why would they care if Ben Simmons can't finish games anyway? And because they have Spencer Dinwiddie, I feel like, he can also kind of like cover some of Ben Simmons' shortcomings. So as long as you don't have to include him in the deal, you could, put Ben Simmons as like a 4 and like a point forward every once in a while. Dinwiddie play off the ball, Beal play off the ball some. Or you could go small even and have Simmons technically be the center just from like a size standpoint, but still be able to run the floor. I think I'm onto something. Ben Simmons to Washington. Whether he'd want to play there doesn't matter. And compared to the Westbrook contract, Simmons isn't as much. So I think it would just be a matter of if Philly, because I think they could get a deal done, like even if Philly asked for more. Like, Washington's got a lot to offer in terms of like win now guys and some prospects. Obviously Daryl Morey tries to get the most out of a trade for a star. So I don't know, keep an eye on that. I don't know if that makes sense or not. I don't know if the Wizards have even considered going for Ben Simmons, but I don't hate it. And I don't hate this Washington Wizards team. I think they'll be, in the mix. The East obviously is going to be very competitive, looking from 6 to 12 down. It's going to be probably a clusterfuck. So I think Wizards will be among the clusterfuck, getting fucked, being fucked, fucking. Oh, man. Every time I upload a video, I have to say, no, it's not for kids, because I swear like one time. But this one, not so much. This is not for kids. Sorry. If a kid's attention span can even get to 13 minutes to get to this point. Wow. Washington Wizards. This is a hell of a video. Appreciate you getting to this point. I hope you've had a good time. Go Washington. Looking forward to seeing what happens. And, take care of yourselves. Take it easy. And I'll see you next time.